Okay, I'm
Sure.
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
switched
we're
us
good.
to the stream. Oh no.
We're live.
I forgot to set the Twitch chat to align with the new slides. I'm sure it will be fine. Because I have like 3 or 4 different Twitch chat sections based on what configuration I have for the slide, but I used new configurations. So
Streaming is hard, man. They need like a Twitch school to learn how to look at 4 things at once.
there's the internet.
We should honestly just go back to like vaudeville or like AM radio or some shit. Like, you know what? It was simple. That's what matters. Who cares if you can't like, who cares if it doesn't have like technology or whatever? It was easy to use.
Who needs it?
Yeah.
I sure don't.
Everyone should just gather in a big music hall and listen to like a player piano and some lady tap dancing. That's all the entertainment you really need. It's all been downhill since then.
What is 2021? What even is it?
It's garbage is what it is.
Ooh, did anybody update the thingy on the stream to say what we were talking about?
Dan, I don't know.
Usually someone
Fuzzy?
I always forget, and usually someone heroically remembers. Dan sounds bad.
Dan sounds a little fuzzy.
Well, no, I don't.
Dan, you're.
I guess you
Dan
do sound a little
fuzzy today.
Fuzzy even to me. I don't know.
All right, let me.
Thanks everybody for joining us.
Press some buttons.
We're just getting some audio levels ready.
Discord.
Hey. Okay, how about now? Is this any better?
Oh, that's way better. Yeah.
That's the good microphone.
Yeah.
Thank you, Discord.
Oh yeah, it still says live episode 72. Oh, I'm not logged in. I'm not actually
logged
into the MUR account.
Are the levels okay though? Like, are we all roughly the same volume and nobody's peaking or anything?
I think so.
Let me look at the meters again, which we don't think
Check
are a good judge.
meters.
Yeah. Dane, do you want to? Who's logged into the MUR on Twitch? Can you update?
I am, but I can't figure out how to change it. You know we're live, right?
Yeah,
like people are listening to us right now.
I know where we're live, Dane. We've already hit the thing. I already hit the button. I can't go back. I had to quick the slideshow. I was very confident I would make the slideshow in 20 minutes, and it took me like an hour. So,
Cool.
All right.
Well, I can't figure out how to do that because they changed everything around since last I was looking at Twitch.
All right, give me 3 seconds. People are joining. We'll start in a minute. Log in. MUR account. Log in. 2-factor authentication. Why?
Alright, who here loves elocution? Red leather, yellow leather, red leather.
The Human Torch was denied a bank loan.
What? That's not a tongue twister.
Maybe for some people it is. You don't know what everyone's conditions are.
I guess that's true. What's going on, Tim?
Episode 45.
Glad to have you here. Are you as excited about the news as we are? I'm pretty sure that's a yes. I don't know. I feel like everybody's just been like raving and completely destroying all forms of social media to talk about it, which has led to a ton of hype, and I'm very excited.
I'm trying to think of what they could announce that Dane wouldn't get super hype about. I think maybe if they announced like a Magic the Gathering themed cycle or something, that might do it.
Yep. But I mean, like, so here's the thing. I was thinking about things that I would be excited about, and I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if there was like a fan-made scenario where the last scenario in the campaign was like you're dealing with all this weird stuff and you're like fighting through all these baddies, and then the main villain is just like Atlas Nacho, where you have to put it in like, you know, together 4 cards to form it, but it's just a massive brown Jenkin at the end of the universe, and it's like this terrifying huge rat monster with like 50 million health.
It's like the locations are in a grid, and every time something bad happens, you flip one over, and it's like a piece of a giant image of Brown Jenkin. And if they all get flipped over, you lose sanity in real life, and you just go insane. That would actually be terrifying. I hope they never do that.
It would be very terrifying. Arkham Horror, but up with armadillos. That sounds fantastic.
Bark Armadillo horror. That'd be kind of scary.
Armadillo Arkham Horror, the card game.
All right, I think I fixed all the streaming buttons. Hopefully, all of our sound is equalized, and Dan doesn't complain about it when we're done recording. So,
I only complain on behalf of our listeners, Ben.
That's true, because most of our people do just listen on the podcast. So
that's true.
But
anyway, with the preamble over,
yeah, do a clean start. Let's do it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Miskatonic University Radio Live, a podcast and live stream exploring fantasy flight games as Arkham Horror, the card game. I'm Dane.
I'm Dan.
I'm Ben.
A few mornings ago, I opened my browser to discover a whole slew of news about this newly announced Arkham Horror expansion, The Edge of the Earth.
Wait, you get your news from a browser? Like you open up a browser and find out stuff?
Well, I think that morning I did.
You don't rely on your Google News on your phone to randomly read stories?
I have like a little squirrel that lives in my neighborhood that just kind of like tells me stuff.
Oh, sure. And that's used by squirrel. That's very common, very modern.
I feel like you might be overpaying for your living situation, Dan. If that's that's the only way you could get your news. But
I don't know. This squirrel really knows some stuff. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it's here. I mean, we've been waiting for a while, right? Into the Maelstrom was lost in the Maelstrom, and now it's not. And
Dane is hyped, and we're all hyped. It's I would say this is the biggest sort of change in the way that the game is produced and released since it was launched. Even the investigator decks, I think, were not as big a change.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're gonna break down the news today, and then we're gonna wildly speculate mostly, but
we have topics. We have topics to discuss, and that's what we like to do.
I do have an organization. So let's get into it. So there's a new format where instead of doing one deluxe box and 6 Mythos packs, there's gonna be 2 big boxes. One that has all the campaign content, and one that has all the investigator cards and player cards. Huge change.
So campaign expansion and investigator expansion, right?
Right.
And in this case, they're both like thematically paired. Like they sort of you can buy just one and use it without the other, but they're sort of intended to go together. Sort of like with a previous campaign, they would choose the investigators and cards that kind of match the theme of the campaign. But I guess there's no guarantee that they'll always do that. Like if they wanted next year, they could release a campaign expansion without accompanying player cards, or like a player card expansion without a campaign to go with it. So that's kind of interesting to think about.
I mean, it's possible they originally planned this cycle to be the standard release model, and they changed partly through production. Like, oh, why don't we just do it like this? So
I was wondering about that because it sounds like, I mean, like back in the Netrunner days, there was a pretty believable rumor that like Rain and Reverie was originally going to be sort of a full 6-pack cycle, and it was turned into a deluxe box at the end. Mm-hmm. I mean, with this, from what we know about the campaign, and we'll talk about this later, it sounds like it is different enough from the standard sort of 8 scenario model that it probably
that's true.
Like it. Well, but they might have like done the kind of initial design thinking it would be a traditional, box and 6 packs, and then just at some point during it they might have switched over to this. So we really don't know.
Yeah, they could have mixed it up. So, but yeah, we just wanted to kind of do a couple quick pros and cons, I guess, on our initial take of the format. So, definitely like I think it's going to be overall a little bit cheaper, which is nice. But to me, just being able to not have to track down every Mythos pack every time it comes out every once a month, which is a horrible living nightmare 80% of the time, it's gonna be great.
It's hard enough for us, and we live in the United States, and we each live in a relatively dense area with a bunch of game stores. People that live in other countries or in sort of more remote areas of the US, I think it's been very difficult to get all the packs. So yeah, I think in that sense this is a big improvement.
Yeah, I see people constantly like trying to track down the full cycle, both like when it's releasing and if they're trying to like catch up and buy old cycles. There's like, oh well, I got packs 1, 2, 5, and 6.
Play
the game, please.
I mean, that's a pretty good point, because a lot of newer players are rejoicing at this, right? Because they would love, a lot of them, like we just had somebody join the server a little while ago who was like very, very excited about this because tracking down like Carcosa right now is just like, good luck. But like with this, you just need to get both of these or one of these, however it works out, and then you've just got everything. And
I think it's also
much more accessible.
Yeah, I think it's also really good to have a clean separation between player and scenario cards because, maybe only one person in your play group really needs to buy the scenario cards, but this way it's easier for each individual player to have their own pool of player cards without feeling like they have to buy sort of duplicate scenario cards. So
yeah,
that's I could see. I mean, we're all nerds; we just buy everything anyway. But I think that I could see that being a big deal for newer players that are like trying to build up a player card collection.
Exactly, yeah. Like I've always just kind of assumed that I was going to get one of everything as it comes out, but like if I pull myself away from that mindset as somebody who's like new coming into the game, it's like, okay, well, I remember being in Netrunner and coming into it like a few cycles in and being like, well, what are the packs that I need to build this specific deck? Like I want to play this deck. Where do I need like the Mystonic Museum? Do I need this? Do I need this? And it's like hard to not just be like, just get everything, because sometimes you're on a budget. Sometimes, like other things are happening. You can't get them for whatever reason. So this is just like a one-stop like thing where you get the cores, you get the investigator starters, and then you just grab these 2 boxes every time they come out. And hopefully they're not going to be as scarce and whatever. But it also means spiral bound campaign book. As confirmed in the Mythos Buster stream with MJ, she did confirm that it would all come in one, and that's also a thing. You don't have to deal with like unfolding these little pamphlets and putting them all back. And
I do hate those little pamphlets a lot. They're very annoying. They always get creased. I think people have been kind of asking for years to make some kind of like nice book combining like all the campaign logs from the first however many campaigns. Now that they've kind of moved to this new model, it would be really good if they would do that for the existing ones. They probably won't, but it would be nice.
I see a lot of people have like custom, like they make custom like hardbound covers for like each book or each campaign that are really nice.
And they're super gorgeous. Yeah,
it'd be good if there was a nice official one too, but
that would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also excited for the other benefit of the player cards coming all in one box is we'll be able to see like the whole cycle of cards at once. Well, like especially this last cycle was really it was a real struggle to try to evaluate like the blessed and cursed mechanic as the cards like slowly came out. So I'm excited to be able to just kind of look at the whole group of cards at once and be able to evaluate them like that. So that'll be great.
And similar to that, I mean, I know I've often kind of griped that when we're playing through a campaign for the first time, it's a month at least, if you're lucky, between scenarios. And often it's more if either people's schedules don't allow you to play right when something comes out, or, as has happened a lot recently, a pack just gets like delayed for some mysterious reason. So it's often just hard to keep track of like, what is the overall plot of this campaign again? Who is this NPC? Like, what are we doing? Especially for me, because I just get distracted. So I think it's kind of cool that we'll be able to sort of play through it, because I usually have way more fun when we go back and do a campaign and it all in like a short period of time after it's all come out than I do during the initial run, as when it's spaced out by a month between each scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this would have been the perfect release model for the Dream Eaters, right? Because that one, for each campaign or for each scenario, you had to wait 2 months in order to find out what's happening next time. And I'm like, who are these investigators I'm playing again? What happened? Like what took place? So
the Dream Eaters release got really coveted, right? Didn't like the 6-pack, didn't that take like 3 or 5 months or something to come out? It was brutal.
And one last pro we should mention, which I think honestly is maybe the biggest one, or one of them, the biggest one that doesn't involve sort of like availability and cost, but sort of like actual gameplay. They just have a lot more freedom to structure campaigns differently. Like they don't have to do 8 roughly equally sized campaigns that each have to work as a standalone, that can't use scenario cards from the other scenarios mostly. They can just have I think they've said that this one is going to be between 4 and 10 sort of scenarios depending on how you do it. So there's room for like weird branching things. There's room for like one really long scenario and then one really short scenario. You could see more stuff like the prelude of Circle Undone, or like the extra scenario in Heart of the Elders. Those are both bad examples because I know we don't really like either of those, but I think it could be done really well. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely a lot more freedom there. Yeah. Do you have any cons that come to mind for you guys on this new release structure?
Any what?
Okay, cons. I mean, I hear you one or two.
Oh,
I mean,
cons.
I thought you were doing a joke. I thought you were doing a bit, Dane. I
I legitimately.
Yeah, you cut out like exactly when you said that word. You should
all
go
right.
back.
Well, all right.
I
So
thought you said cons.
any
like
cons?
fish.
We're talking about
So I was very
cons.
confused.
So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, to me, it's like we'll get less consistent releases of content, and we'll just get big bursts. So it might be like long spans of time where we don't get anything new, and then we'll get a whole bunch at once. So that might be a little bit of a con. I don't know. It's fun to look forward to like a new pack each month in that sense.
I have these friends who have a podcast about this game, and they really rely on having like a pack coming out each month to give them sort of something to do an episode about. So I really have no idea how they're going to adapt to this new world, but I would say that that's a concern for them.
I'm sure we'll figure it out. At least one of them's a doctor, right? So they should be able to.
Yeah, but these days, you know, he's mostly just you know, he's left that aside for other pursuits. So I don't know. But no, I mean, that is like, I mean, you know, it gives you a reason to go to the game store. It gives you like there's that kind of people trying to guess what the end of the campaign is going to be. There are some kind of fun things about having it released episodically. Then we will kind of miss out on those. I also miss, I mean, as Dane pointed out, Innsmouth was definitely one where it would have been great if all of the player cards had been released at once. But yeah, well, yeah, sorry, you said Dream Eaters, but I was thinking Innsmouth. We complained that like all the good Bless payoffs are at the very end.
Yes.
But you know, in Netrunner, it was always fun when the meta would kind of like evolve. Like the new pack would come out and there would be some really good cards, and that would kind of shift what decks people were playing. And then another pack would come out a few months later, and it would kind of shift, and people would play different decks because of the new cards. That has never happened quite as much in Arkham as in Netrunner, but you still get a little bit of that, and I think we'll have less of that now. But I mean, I agree with you guys. I think on balance, this is a really good change for the game, but we will miss maybe some things about the old system.
Yeah, I also wanted to highlight a point that I think Harrison originally made was that like it's also you have less excuses to go into your local game store because like you're not going in every month and seeing things or whatever. You might, now that COVID is hopefully with a foot out the door, but you can start going back and playing in person again, but like not having a reason to just walk in there and like maybe you're picking up a couple other board games or other things like that. It's kind of sad because at least for the game store, right? Like for a business perspective, you're in there less times. The good part about this model is that they know that they're gonna get you coming in once a month, you know, to pick up this new pack, and it's kind of like a dedicated customer thing. Whereas now it's just like you come in once, spend $100, and you're done. Don't even have to go in for the next 8 months, you know, or 9 months, or however long it takes.
Well, I think these are rumored that these will actually not come out at the same time. I think I saw something about maybe the investigators are going to come out in like September and the campaign will go like November or something. So they might still stagger it a little bit.
Okay. Okay, interesting.
I'm not sure if that was confirmed. It might just be a vicious rumor, but
it's also, this might just be motivation for you know, those Arkham fans who are lucky enough to have a good local game store to set up a, you know, Thursday night Arkham or something like that.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
You know, it's like another reason to go. So
yeah, I mean,
get more involved. I'm sure everyone's desperate to probably go talk to other people, I guess, for some reason. I don't know why, but you could have organized some Arkham at your local store.
Really want to sit in a windowless room in the back of a mall under fluorescent lights in an uncomfortable chair playing. I'm not even joking. I honestly do want to do that, but
same. I've never wanted to do that more, to be honest, but
yep.
I mean, we're going to be getting other things, right? There's going to be Return 2s that are coming out. Hopefully there's more of the side scenario packs that are coming out. Things like that will be exciting to see in the interim between design. And that's also something that you were alluding to, Dan, that it opens up the design space in terms of like in-campaign stuff, but also maybe just design space in general, right? They might have some of the stuff that's been laid out for a while, and they're finally getting to use it, and they can, instead of having to like wait monthly, that might restrict some of the ways that they want to be releasing these things to us. So this way we can get all of this, and then maybe in 2 months they'll release, you know, another side scenario. They can have more parallel investigators being worked on at once, because once Edge of the Earth is like out, bows tied there, they can start working on other things, etc. So I'm excited for that aspect
it occurs to me they also are not locked in now to like always have to do the campaign box at this giant size. Like they could do like a mini campaign release or something too, where it's like half as many cards with like 3-4 scenarios in it or something like that. Like they do it with like the Mansions of Madness expansions. They have like the $30 expansion that has like 2 scenarios and the $60 one that has like 4 or whatever.
I was thinking that if they had done Dream Eaters in the system, they could have done the 2 sides of it as separate, like half campaigns.
Oh man,
I would love to see that. I would love it if they had the freedom to, instead of them all being like this length and $60 or whatever, they could do like one that's 2/3 the size, one that's like a little bit bigger and it costs a little more. My suspicion is that FFG being FFG, they still really like consistency in their products, and I bet we'll see them stick like pretty close to this sort of two boxes model. Maybe they'll sometimes do like 2 boxes that are unrelated to each other or something. But you never know. They're definitely closer to having the freedom to do that than they were in the past.
Yeah, again, they probably won't go too crazy, but I could see them having at least one other variant with like a smaller box for both of these even.
I mean that came up when we were talking about Guardians of the Abyss, how it's like a small 2-part, like kind of a very different than normal side scenario custom thing. So like it would be nice to see like even just a 4-part with that, like that kind of thing.
One more con that I wanted to mention, sort of something Tim said in the chat reminded me of it. I do think it was kind of neat to have like unique encounter cards in each scenario pack in the past, because you'd have some treachery or some enemy or something that felt really. It's kind of the flip side of like, it's sort of cool that they can now share cards between scenarios more easily, but the downside of that is we might start to see scenarios feel a little bit more samey. I guess it depends on how they do it, and I guess I trust them to design it well and not make that mistake, but it's one potential problem with the system.
Yeah. Maybe just echoes from Innsmouth.
I mean, I didn't crunch the numbers of how many cards there are. There might be slightly less cards, but which means they might do a little more overlap, but I think we'll still see like unique cards for each scenario. I'm not super worried about it. As long as they don't title tunnels for like 6 scenarios, we'll be okay. I guess
so. Both pros and cons, but I mean, it seems like we're all agreed that this is, on balance, this is a really exciting and good change for the game.
Absolutely.
I'll miss a little bit the episodic and doing the story between each scenario. Also, I'm going to be compelled to have to play the entire campaign as soon as it comes out, so I don't get spoiled. So
exactly.
I hope you guys are ready for that.
I'm sure there are going to be many rituals that are made now.
I'm sure that they will be playing. So
there's going to be a lot of rituals where we just 48 hours of Arkham, and it'll be great. Those are the best times.
All right, so I had a whole separate slide that
everything is Iron Man all the time now. That's just how it's going to be.
So we also got a lot of preview of the investigators.
Very generous.
So we know all 5 of them. I think all of them. There's no like it's completely brand new investigators to like Arkham Files, but we got Monterey Jack, Norman Withers, Daniel Reyes, Lee Chen, and Bob Jenkins. We know all 5 of them because I think that we have the back of the box we've seen, and also the front of the box has all the pictures on it. So,
I feel like he's going to be the mysterious puzzle that
which one,
people have
Bob
to figure out.
Jenkins? Yeah, we have no clues about Bob Jenkins, other than he's probably a survivor, unless there's like a surprise 6th investigator somehow on this box. It's a lot.
That would be cool, but
I think he's probably the base class survivor.
One of the things that people were talking about in terms of like excessive or the team being able to like change the way that they format things is that they were positing that they could do more like legacy things, like don't open this until you've released the last or you finished the last one. And some people are for it, some people are against it, with both legitimate reasons, but that would be an interesting way to do that if you had like open only after you've played through the campaign, and then you get a new investigator and you're like
I mean that might be cool to have like an investigator you unlock from completing a campaign, but if FFG tries to sell me a product where I have to like tear up a card after I use it or something,
no,
that's gonna be it. So I hope you're not advocating for that type of legacy mechanic.
No. Just it's cool, like
it's a cool idea, but if they did have a player card or investigator unlock like that, it would just be spoiled like a month before the box came out, inevitably, no matter how hard you tried to avoid it. So
it's probably true.
But maybe they'll do it. You know, I mean, I don't know. No, this is exciting. I mean, I think Monterey Jack and Bob Jenkins are both high on my wish list for like people that I've been hoping to see in this game for a long time. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lily for me is pretty exciting to see.
Yeah, so one rumor / theory everybody has for these guys is they might all have similar deck building. Based on the preview article, seems to imply that Lily's deck building is going to be pretty similar to Norman's. What do you guys think? Do you think they'll do a return to Dunwich where they all have symmetrical deck building? Or do you think it's maybe just Lily and Norman that have start with a class and then upgrade to another one? Uh-oh, do we lose Dan?
Okay, I think Dan might have frozen.
Yeah.
So I think so. I've had mixed feelings about Norman's deck building for some time. I think it's mostly because like secret cards are incredibly powerful, and upgrading into mystics feels like a step backwards. But as far as the actual theming to like the way that it translates into the gameplay and mechanics, it's very, very fulfilling. The fact that Norman starts out as a seeker and then realizes, you know, he starts to become more mystical, more like delving into the arcane secrets of the world, seems like it's such a great like narrative, both thematically and mechanically for me, that I love it a lot. So I think that if they did that with all of these, I would be very excited to see how it turns out, because it kind of shifts the perspective on how you're looking at what an investigator is, right? Because mostly when you see a blue card, put blue cards in the deck. But now it's like, you know, there's more of a story, I guess, to it.
Yeah, I mean,
also,
I like the strategy aspect of it, because like Norman's deck building is you get 5 Mystic level 0 cards, Seeker level 0 cards, and then you can upgrade only into Mystic cards. That was perfectly clear. Everyone understands it. So it's kind of a fun puzzle, because it's like you don't really want to take the Mystic level 0 cards that you definitely want the upgrades of in your deck, unless you want to like waste experience moving stuff around. So it forces you a little bit to use maybe different cards for your level 0s, and like plan out your upgrade path a little bit more than you might with other characters.
Yeah.
So I usually like that. And it leads to different combinations than we've seen with like the 0 to 5, 0 to 2, you know, primary, secondary class stuff. So I think that's fun. Looks like Dan's back. Dan looked like he was about to make a powerful point. What was it, Dan?
Well, let's keep talking about it, because then that's something for me to have to edit out of the episode for the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I'm not super excited if they all have the same Norman style deck building, just because it seems very weird to me. I don't know. I like it. It feels like Norman should just be a mystic if he's going to have all mystic cards. Like, it's weird that his card is orange, but he's mostly playing purple cards. So I'm not a huge fan of it, but I am also interested to see what it might look like for different characters. So I don't know. I wouldn't expect it though, just because they haven't done like a fully symmetrical set of 5 that are the same since Dunwich, right? So
yeah. I think that like there's a difference between upgrading from Seeker to a different class, and that it generally probably just feels bad. Whereas if you're Lily and you're starting out as Mystic, and then you get to put Guardian cards in your deck, yeah, that's where we want to be. Or like if you're starting out as Monterey Jack as a rogue, and you get like Lucky Cigarette Case and like Good Rogue cards, and then you get to upgrade into Seeker cards. Yeah, that's where we want to be, right? So like, I like the narrative arc that it kind of represents thematically and mechanically is kind of what I was talking about.
I think a point for it is because this is a new format release, it's probably easier, and you need to be able to like play each Investigator with just the core and the newly released cards. They might want to keep it a little more symmetrical, just so like that all the characters have stuff to upgrade into, and like it's not like heavily weighed towards one class or something. That's kind of reasons I think it might be balanced. And plus, because it's a new product release, like Dunwich was the first Deluxe, it might be like, oh, we'll keep it symmetrical.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So let's take a look at what we know about each one real quick, or maybe just randomly theorize about them.
Yeah, we'll just do some quick speculation because one, we don't know that much about all of them yet, and
Yeah.
two, we'll do once we have the full spoilers, we'll do like a full episode about them. So
Yeah,
It's the crowd favorite. He's
so
finally here.
yeah, Bob
To kick some
Jenkins.
tail.
I think we know basically nothing. I think MJ in her interview with Mythosbusters mentioned that he'd be like a risk taker of some kind.
That is false. We know a lot about Bob Jenkins. We know that he's an American. We know that he is honest and proud. We know that he's a guy that can get stuff done, and I guess that's really all we know. But I'm very hyped for Bob Jenkins. Always one of my favorite Arkham Files dudes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Dane had some theory he talked about on the Discord. I mean, if it's a 0 to 5 or class to a different class deck building, he's probably Survivor to Rogue. But what was your thoughts? You thought he might do something crazy with the encounter deck?
I was thinking about that. So there were two kind of once MJ said that there would be some element of risk, like they'd be a risk taker. I started thinking about so there's a Marvel Champions here that just came out, Star-Lord, and his ability, without going too far into it, is basically just that he can deal himself encounter cards for various benefits. For example, he can play cards cheaper if he deals himself an encounter card. And what dealing encounter card in Marvel Champions means is basically that you put it in front of you, and then on the next encounter phase, you flip all of the encounter cards that are in front of you over. So it's a little different from Arkham in that once you get an encounter card, generally in Arkham, you just resolve it. But so he can use things that will put encounter cards in front of him, but for a great benefit. So most of his cards are very, very good, but come with the cost of throwing encounter cards in front of yourself. So it'd be a really interesting thing to do with Bob, right? If he had like a really powerful signature, or was able to include cards easier, like more powerful things in his deck for that trade-off, that'd be really cool.
That does seem like a good guess. I wonder how that would work with Shirt.
Oh no. Well, Bob already has a shirt. Bob can't put on a second shirt.
Well, in this game, I doubt that they would defer the drawing the extra encounter cards until Mythos phase. You'd probably do it right away. So in that sense, Shirt probably wouldn't prevent it. But no, I think that seems cool. I don't know. I'd always pictured him as maybe being a Guardian, because I think in other Arkham Files games he was fairly good at fighting. But I mean, you never know. It might be cool.
Yeah. I mean, I had another direction with it, which was Bob Shop's Pawn Shop, which very quickly, basically, at the beginning of your turn, you can just sell something to this guy called Aesop in Netrunner, and he would just give you money for your old used up stuff. So things with counters on them, old guns that you might have used all the ammo out of, or spells that you're done with using the charges out of. We've got Joey the Rat level 3, which unfortunately Dexter can't take, but if he were to start as a survivor and then move into being upper level rogue stuff, I could definitely see like items being a thing. I know Harrison in the chat was saying he's hoping for level 0 to 5 items. That'd be awesome. He'd have so much to pull from, contrary to like somebody like Rita, for example, who has like 10 trick cards. Out of them, maybe 5 of them are like really exciting to use. But yeah, like, so something cool like that would be really nice. Like kind of a passive economy with using all these items and managing them. So yeah,
we really don't know anything about him. We only know that he's in the set. That's it. So we don't want to.
He's gonna be a risk taker.
Well, and so we probably shouldn't speculate too much. But I think we're all very hyped for.
If anyone has any crazy wild speculation, feel free to drop us a line at Discord. We could chat about it more. So what about Monterey Jack? So Monterey Jack, we know his stat line, and that he's green.
Hey,
so he's a high agility, high int character.
I love Monterey Jack because he's really a holdover from the very early Arkham Files / like Call of Cthulhu whatever days, where the characters' names were goofy puns. Like they don't really do that anymore, but they definitely did it for this guy. So
hell yeah,
yeah,
I'm loving it.
Yeah, and I mean the stat line is cool. I mean it's kind of like a Finn or Trish style stat line. And especially if he upgrades into, Seeker cards or something, that could be pretty great.
If he upgrades into Seeker, this seems like a very almost incredible stat line. Obviously 5 agility. Yeah. But that just gives them ability to evade. As we said, Finn or Trish style. But 1 will, whatever. It's fine. We used to be scared of that. Now it's just like it's fine, whatever. So
you handle it.
just draw a trillion cards and have 2 you handle this ones in your deck, and you'll be fine. Just make your group mates do all the encounter cards.
Yeah, I mean, if he has access to level 5 Seekers or something crazy with him being base rogue that Trish can't do that he can do, probably. And all the level 5 Seeker cards are bonkers, right? And rogue gives you access to money cards.
I mean, he can get like cryptic research. He can get like he upgraded. Especially if he has like 5 level 0 Seeker cards, then he can upgrade them. That's enough to do like upgraded ancient stones or whatever.
And he's gonna have adaptable too. He's gonna have adaptable.
No, well, no, he wouldn't have it. No, he wouldn't have adaptable.
I'm sorry, no, he's not.
Bob might.
Bob Jenkins.
Bob has.
Yeah.
Also, it would mean he wouldn't be able to get another day another dollar, but he could get Studious, which is a good trade, right? So we don't know yet.
Studious.
Yeah, I mean we really don't know yet, but that would be pretty good if he
could have incredible card draw and money and just have access to the Seeker card pool. Oh man, he could be bonkers.
I would like to, since we're on the air right now, and this is all being recorded and witnessed, I would like to issue a dibs to play him on our blind run that is legally binding. And I just did it, so it's too late. You guys can't do anything about it.
I mean, that's fine. Usually you lock yourself into the default Seeker, but I guess you already know it's Norman, so...
And I do. I obviously reserve the right to change if it turns out that he sucks. Once we see his, once we see his deck building and stuff. Yeah.
So basically, Dan is calling out first dibs. That's fair.
Okay, he's just calling general first dibs. All right, cool, Dan. So yeah, we don't know much else about him. He's an archaeologist. You have to be lead investigator if you play him in a Fried Age.
I mean, this is as close to Brendan Fraser in The Mummy as it gets, right?
Ooh, Brendan Fraser. I don't know.
Brendan Fraser in The Mummy, not an archaeologist.
Yeah,
there's another famous movie archaeologist that this guy is maybe more of a direct rip-off of. Indiana Jones 4K Blu-rays are coming out like right now, so it's a good year, I guess, for that.
Good year, yeah.
Isn't there an Indiana Jones 5 coming out soonish?
There is James Mangold. Yeah.
Oh man, Dan, also, what's your call now? Is it going to be incredible or terrible?
It will be probably the best Indiana Jones movie released in the 21st century. Is my guess.
I mean, to draw kind of attention to his stat line a little bit. I mean, one will, whatever, who cares? He's a rogue. But also, like, whenever I see a 4 and a 5 in stats, I'm like pretty hyped. Like, right, that's like generally a pretty good baseline. Like Norman and Gloria are 2 who have 5s and 4s. Also pretty respectable. So
I mean, at least Norman, Monterey, and Danielle all have similar stat spreads. They have like 1, 2, 4, 5 distributed some way. Maybe Bob will have something like that too. I don't know.
Love seeing ones on a stat line. Like even if it's Will, like 1 on Will is it's not as scary as it used to. It's still kind of a bummer. 1 on anything else is usually like, ooh.
We talked about that a long time ago, right? About like how we could optimize a Guardian to be like the best fighter. If they just had like 1s in Will and 1 in agility.
We honestly want everyone to be like 5, 4, 1, 2. Pretty much is just like the best stat line.
That's what that's what 3 of these investigators are.
Exactly. So. I mean, assuming it's arranged in the right way, but that's like pretty much the best stat line. Or honestly, 5, 5, 1, 1 would also be good, but I think that's a little too much to ask, maybe.
For sure. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
So the third investigator we again know almost nothing about is Daniela Reyes. She's the Guardian. Again, we know her stat line. She's got 5 fight, 4 will, 1 int. Seemed very good.
We also know that she has.
Talk about her having.
We also know that she has biceps the size of like I don't even know. Like those are crazy.
I assume she works on her cars all day, and then at night she goes out and has to like fight cultists with a wrench. And wrenches are kind of heavy.
Hell yeah!
So I love it. It's a double work.
The Gordon Freeman experience.
I'm honestly confused about whether she fixes cars or like lifts them all day or something, because it's hard to tell. But
well, it's 1920s. They didn't actually have car lifts yet, so they had to have people lift up the cars to get under.
Yeah, there you go. So, well, and we were just talking about this, but I mean, 5 combat, great. 4 will, pretty good. Like that's neat.
Yeah, that's like basically better than Zoe at a base, right? Like because Zoe has 4-2, 4-2. Is that right?
Well, yeah, for multiplayer it is. If you try to go with her in solo, you might struggle to get clues. But yeah,
I think she's the one where, like, with Monterey Jack, we're really excited because it's like, oh, maybe he gets to upgrade into Seeker cards. That would be great. With her, I'm like, oh man, she looks really good, but if she upgrades into like Survivor cards instead of Guardian cards, that would really be a big blow, I think, to her power level. So I don't know. I'm interested to see how this turns out.
Yeah, if they all follow the pattern, and she would be the survivor, right?
That would make the most sense.
And I mean, there's certainly good upgraded Survivor cards, but man, you want like Beat Cop 2, you want stuff like that. You know, you want even like Stand Together and stuff. You want those if you're gonna fight things.
I mean, she can get Jessica if she can get Survivor. Which is fine. I think somebody has like deciphered the out of focus text that we can see on her and tried to piece together what her ability is, but I did not look at what that theory was at a time. But someone's definitely done that. I don't know. I know on our Discord there was a controversy because her intellect is 1, which means she cannot fix vehicles
that is really funny. Yeah,
in Smith. So
but she specializes in not cars, not boats. What is she? She specializes in like bicycles, which is great actually. Like that's the best type of vehicle to work on, or trains. Maybe she's a train mechanic. We don't know.
We could go, but that would also constitute some amount of int, right?
Yeah, I mean, intellect is like weird in this. Like, I think it's supposed to mostly represent like mythos knowledge. Sometimes, or it's like a combination of 2 stats. It's like how observant you are versus how knowledgeable you are about something.
In other games, it's like split into lore and
like observation. Like in
Arkham
Edition, her
in Eldritch Horror,
there was and her intellect is like high. So
that's fair. I like that. That's fine.
I don't know, it's fine. It's a sacrifice that had to be made for her to be really good at hitting things with a wrench.
I'm pretty sure there's like other cases like this where somebody's stat line has not made any sense for what they're supposed to be able to do. But
one of the really old people who should have like an agility of 1, isn't there one that has like an agility of 3? Like Leo,
probably.
Or Leo and Norman both have a 1, but who's the other older guy? I don't know.
Gloria is old and she has a 2? No, she has a 1. She has 1. She has 2.
No, it's Ursula has a fight of 1, but she's like an explorer. I don't know if I
sure. Yeah, sure.
That's why that's weird. I don't know. Sometimes sacrifices you have to make to get the stats to line up.
Yeah. But we're excited.
Yeah, but definitely excited for her. So Lily Chen is the one I think we got the most new information about. I have a bunch of the cards on the screen here, but I don't want to read through them. We'll do that when the packs come out over the course of like eight podcast episodes. She was strongly implied to have the Norman deck building, and because they previewed a bunch of like, oh, look, here's some Guardian cards you can take, and I think one of them was level 5, and they didn't really mention any Mystic cards she could upgrade into.
Yeah, even the ones here, right? Butterfly Swords and Sweeping Kick, they're both level 1 and 2.
These are like combat cards that like you add your agility or use them, or you like do something with your arcane slots, which her thing seems to. A lot of the cards we saw were like, had to do with like putting stuff in your arcane slots, I think, and that gave you buffs.
She might be really into those kind of weird things like Spiritual Resolve or Flesh Ward or whatever, the kind of like Guardian arcane slot things that are defensive or that do that would be kind of neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing with her is her mechanic is like these broken cards that she can slowly get more of as she gains experience. Sort of like Mandy, but at the cost she gets like an extra weakness put in her deck, I think, as well. Sort of like Mandy, but the cost isn't you have to add 10 extra cards to your deck. So it seems better.
Yeah. And her disciplines, I think, generally give her like static buffs to her skills, right?
We've seen 2 of the 4, and they both like give a +1 to one of her skills, and then have some other like kind of powerful effect, and then they like give you like a side quest that you have to accomplish, or afterward in order to activate them again. But the ones we saw so far were like very easy side quests, so it might be like pretty easy to activate them again. So I think that'll be some fun counterplay with her. And yeah, I think she'll be able to benefit from Guardian. She has her stat line's not as good as the other ones. She only has a 4 fight, and then like 3 in both her defensive stats. So
that 2 int really needs to be a 1. Like, just crank that down. Like it's gotta be. Yeah.
I think that'd be too good though, because she's already very clearly getting +1 will from this discipline. I'm guessing +1.
Yeah,
almost all of her stats. So she's going to be like 4, 3, 5, 4. I'm guessing.
I assume she will have a combat discipline, and to be able to be at a 5 at the start of the game, and then maybe occasionally go down. But
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So,
and I guess this way, like with 2 int plus, if there's an int discipline, like in solo, you could actually get a clue if you really need to, maybe.
Exactly. Or something. Yeah, and also like you've got Drawn to the Flame, you've got like other good like level 0 Mystic cards that you can slot into your deck.
Yeah, so. And if she upgrades into Guardian, that complaint Dan was having about Daniela, she will have access to like become.
She's gonna be going into Vicious Blow level 2 over Power level 2.
Oh yeah, no, I mean that would like for her that would be really big. I think for Daniela upgrading into Survivor would be sort of bad, but yeah.
And I think it's interesting for her because she'll have access to lots of arcane slots, but she probably isn't gonna want to use the basic arcane spells, so she might. That we use for like replacing combat or getting clues or whatever, she might do some more interesting one, like you said, like Flesh Ward or suggestion or whatever. I don't know. I guess she doesn't have suggestion, but some of the lesser used arcane slot things, I think she's had
interesting abilities related to basic stats in previous Arkham Files games. I think like in Eldritch Horror, she could kind of like upgrade her stats. And so it's sort of like that. It's like you're kind of playing games to boost your basic stats, and you have kind of a weird little.
I did like her in Eldritch when I got to play her because my goal was to upgrade all my stats, which everyone else seemed to think was not super important. But I
remember that very well. Yeah. I miss Eldritch Horror. It'd be fun to go back and play that again. But
maybe.
And then we've got one more.
The other one's Normand. So I mean, the only new news with him is they kind of like some of the cards they previewed seemed to like kind of. Help out what I thought his biggest weakness was, which was if you put skill cards in his deck and they're the top card in his deck, you're just sad because you can't do anything with them. But a lot of the cards they added seem to support like manipulating your deck a lot more to try to get. You could either take the skills off and like play them off the top of your deck, or tuck them away for later was one of them, I think. And there was a couple other cards that let you like rearrange your deck or like swap a card from your hand to the top of your deck or something is his special card now. So I think he'll be a lot more interesting with the cards that come out. But
we got some great cards here, folks. We got Space Dog, we got Book, we got Other Book, and we have Scary Hand.
Hell yeah!
So, I don't know.
I'm excited to play these.
I guess the question is do we think, from what we've seen so far, do we think Norman will rise to the ranks of some of the other Seekers? Because right now he's kind of a lower tier Seeker, I think.
No. Those are really, really big boots to fill, and if you don't have any pips that can go towards Yellowland, then you're not going to fill them. But he can be a good Mystic, I think, with his new signature, the Hyperborean Grimoire, because I'm definitely not pronouncing that name. That gives him a lot of flexibility as in terms of like what's at the top of his deck, and I've actually always wanted that to be the case, where you can swap a card in your hand with the top card of your deck. That is exactly what needed to happen with Norman, and I'm very happy that this is the case here. Space Dog is also something that I'm very excited to play in him. That's just going to be the name now. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah. It's a constellation coming to life and attacking, I guess.
And what is it? What is it? What does the constellation look like, Ben?
Looks like a dog.
Oh yeah, really?
Like wolf,
interesting.
Which is also a type of dog.
Right. It looks kind of friendly. It looks like a dog.
It does look friendly. It has glowing red eyes, Dad.
Yeah, but that's just because it's in space. That's fine. No, this is cool. I'm excited to give Norman a shot.
Yeah, I think the saddest thing about this slide is that Astronomical Atlas is not level 2, because I've been waiting for a card called Bookmark to be added to this game forever for Patrice to play. And in Netrunner, Bookmark was a thing where you could just store things under it and like save them for later, so that you can like pop them, you can trash the bookmark and then throw everything back in your hand that was underneath the bookmark, which is something that Patrice would benefit greatly from. But maybe she'll get Kleptomania.
Maybe we'll get a downgraded version of it eventually.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for investigators. We saw like they previewed I think a bunch of player cards. I mean, there's like 200 player cards, or maybe. I mean, they advertised 250 in the pack, but probably like it's probably including the doubles, right? So it's probably like 120 or something. But I don't know. The big thing that I think they mentioned was they're bringing back dual class cards.
Yay!
I don't know. Are we excited about this? It seemed to
I'm
imply
very
they
excited
weren't
about it.
doing the split upgrades like they did previously, which kind of makes them less exciting for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. The dual class cards are fine. I don't hate them, but they're not that exciting. Honestly, I think Ben's right. Like the thing that was kind of interesting about them was to see how they would get upgraded in two different ways, and they would have like the slightly different art. So they're not doing that anymore. It's kind of like, what's the point? But I don't know. I mean, it does. It's sort of like we were talking about. It does give you more options if you're upgrading. If you're just starting with this as your collection, it sort of means that a lot of these cards could, in theory, be used by more characters in the box than they otherwise would be able to. So that's neat.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think. Go ahead.
I was saying if they do the upgrade path we're thinking for these 5 investigators, and this obviously means a lot more of them have access to some of these higher level cards. It's really cool. But
I think that's exactly the reason, right? Because they're putting this together, and maybe that's an argument for all of them being this good old Norman switcheroo route in their with their deck building, because like they built the set and they were like, wait a minute, we can't play like this. This isn't as fun because the deck building is maybe a little more difficult. So introducing like more of an influx of these type of cards where Norman had a weird thing where he was like one of the only ones who, if he took a dual class card, it would actually count for 2 of his 0 slots. Is that right? I remember something weird like that happening with him.
I'm hoping they like revise that ruling because it was weird and awkward.
Yeah, he was.
I thought it got eroded.
Oh,
it
I
got
don't
eroded for
know.
everyone except Norman, I think.
Yeah, that's what I heard. So the way that these are though, since they're all, at least except for medical student on the thing here, that the upgraded dual class cards are just serving to help like them flex into different things a little easier.
I thought the weird thing about the dual class cards was for like Carolyn, because she had up to some number of Seeker or Mystic, and it was if you had a Seeker and Mystic card, it counted as both or something.
I think no, it was she has the word other on the back of her card, or she was errata to have it. I don't remember the exact order, but
okay,
so it didn't apply. But Norman doesn't. But Sultry in chat is mentioning that MJ does say that Norman's been fixed to have the word other on it. So I guess they're keeping the rule the same, but correcting him so he's not awkward. So
all right, that's good to know.
Thanks, Sultry. Tim in the chat also has a good point here. I don't know if anybody noticed the multi-class cards are a nice hint to the investigator classes. Huh? So like the upgrade paths.
Oh yeah. Well, wait a minute. How would that work?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Like the classes that they're accessible for, maybe.
But for instance, we see a Seeker Survivor one and a Seeker Rogue one, but Norman is neither of those. Like there wouldn't be both a Seeker. I mean, it might be, but I don't think so.
Yeah, that's right. I think there's just going to be a mix of different combos. I don't think it'll necessarily align with the ones in the deck. Or
I was optimistic that they cleverly cycled the ones that.
I mean, have you guys ever tried Moxie?
I did.
Drink or the player card?
It's very gross. Old.
I did.
Yeah. Are you talking about Moxie, the rogue
beverage? I'm talking about the beverage. It's very gross.
Oh no, definitely not.
It does taste like pennies, Captain Farnes. That is what it tastes like. But not even like fresh new pennies, but like pennies that have been in various people's pockets for like a decade.
That sounds terrible and gross.
It's nasty as hell. My grandparents used to drink it.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about what we know about the campaign. So we discussed. I guess we kind of talked about the campaign a bit earlier, where we're like the arrangement where it's like it could be 4 to 10 different scenarios. So like I think MJ said that you do the first 4 scenarios, then it'll branch off, and I think it's depending on if you keep your crew alive or not. And there's like 10 different people in your group that you need to somehow keep alive. I'm not sure. But I guess that's going to kind of make it, that ties into it like being a sequel to the Mountains of Madness, right?
Kind of like Dunwich, right? Where it's sort of like a direct sequel to a thing that's already been in the mythos that we already know about.
Yeah.
And Mountains of Madness is one of my favorites, and I think.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
So I'm definitely excited for that. We have returning characters like Danforth and William Dyer. And
hell yeah, Danforth.
Yay, Danforth. Also, man with dog. Very excited about that. Dog handler. Hell yeah.
There
You remember
what a great profession.
in Eldritch Horror, the Mountains of Madness expansion added random like hypothermia stuff that would just be in the deck for even when you weren't doing Antarctica, which is weird. But it also added sled dogs, which I remember was like a thing that you just always find. You'd be hanging out in like India or something, and there would be like sled dogs in the deck or something. It was strange.
Yeah, I expect we'll see some dogs as a form of transportation to this
and
campaign.
Penguins, giant penguins.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm most interested in this James Cookie Fredericks character over here on the left hand side there. What's his deal? And is he holding a cookie in his art?
He's holding a gun, actually.
Or, no,
and it looks like
his right
directed
hand.
towards your face.
In his right hand, what is he holding? Is that a giant cookie?
I think that's a cookie. I think he's
cookie.
eating a cookie and pointing a gun, which is honestly like life goals for me. Like that's where I want to be in life. Is no, I'm very excited for. I mean, one of the great things about Mountains of Madness is that you get to hang out with like early 20th century planes. Back when a plane was roughly as complicated mechanically as like a modern bicycle is, and it was insane that they worked it all.
Look at that! Yeah. Look at that picture of the aeroplane mechanic. Like, look at that plane.
The rudder.
I know.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about how the Mountains of Madness board game comes with a little plane toy inside it. And it's like part of the game, which is amazing. Like I don't think that this game will come with. I don't think this box will come with a little plastic plane, but I would be very happy if it did.
I don't know. Maybe it will.
Just throw that out in the ether.
I mean, if not, Dane will add one to his box of stuff. So
I'll actually go grab it from the Mountains of Madness game right now. So
definitely.
That
now,
do
you have one more thing, Dane?
I like the idea of trying to keep people alive. It looks like from the splash that you just showed there, they have like a dash in their cost, meaning that you can't like flip them back into your hand with that one card. There's not going to be a way to like deal with that. They just have to be out. So I'm imagining that this set's going to be a lot of like that stuff where it's like take 3 damage, assign it first to allies if you can or whatever, and you're actually going to want to play things like trusted or like interesting weird cards. Like
yeah, I'm assuming these guys are going to be like on the board. They might not. Everyone might not be in every scenario, but I assume they're going to be like a shared character. And I assume their health and damage are going to carry over between scenarios, as well as whatever their resource thing is on each one. Because a big part of the big campaign is trying to keep them alive, and like which ones die, I think, determines which scenario pass you branch into. And also their abilities on them sound good. I mean, some of them are specific to the campaign, so it's hard to tell exactly, but it seems like they'll be powerful people that you want to keep alive, and maybe you will have to make choices on which ones you want to keep. It's like a better version of supplies, right?
I kind of assume it'll be sort of a mix of like Dunwich mixed with the Alejandro and Ichitaka thing from Forgotten Age, where it'll be like they'll get kidnapped at some point and you'll have to save them, but also sometimes it'll be like these two people are having a fight about which direction to go and you have to like choose to ally with one of them or something.
Or choose to save one of them, maybe.
Yeah, like they're both hanging from a branch.
Yes, I want that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of neat stuff they can do with it.
Yeah,
definitely.
None of these guys are going to go in your deck though, right? They don't have costs and they don't take up slots or anything. So
they're probably just going to start and play.
They're definitely just somewhere on the board somewhere.
I'm guessing the partner mechanic is going to figure that out somehow.
It might be like each scenario, each investigator picks like 1 or 2 partners to start and play with or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, or depending on various.
I'm excited for it. I think it'll be interesting. I'm hoping it is like pretty hard to actually keep them all alive, so there are like actual decisions you have to make.
Yeah. I love when there are mechanics in a scenario that warrant the use of cards that would normally not be used by like a optimal deck or whatever. Like when you want to use Open Gate, for example, on a really big map, like Blob or something, or like I don't know, like other things that allow you, like in for example, Carcosa, where you want to take Fine Clothes, right? Like 1 copy or 2 copies in your deck to begin with, and then upgrade out of it. Those are the things that I love. That when scenarios can do that like some card gets elevated because of the scenario. I love.
Yeah. I'm definitely excited to see what's goes on with this campaign, but the question really is, how will it compare to the legendary Betrayal at the Mountains of Madness campaign.
Batmom, baby.
We're obviously big fans of Batmom, the fan made campaign created by our friend Tim, not the I've got a plan Tim, the other Tim. So here are my initial thoughts. One, as excited as I am to get an official Mountains of Madness scenario, I wish they'd waited like one more year. I wish that we'd had a chance to like finally have Tim like completely finish Batmom before this came out.
He's got time.
But you know, I'm very. He just needs to like quit his job and just work full time on this campaign or something.
I'm sure you can convince him to do so.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting that, you know, Tim stuck pretty close to the standard like 8 scenario model for Batmom, even though in theory, you know, he could do it however he wanted. And it's interesting that when FFG gets around to doing a take on it, they've switched to this new thing where they actually have like more flexibility. So that's kind of a weird, interesting thing to happen.
Yeah. It's interesting too. I think a lot of the ways that we've already seen some of the mechanics working out do actually parallel to some of the things in Batmom, in that, like, for example, the allies thing, right? We discovered very early on that there's going to be a lot of allies in your deck. And this very clearly the same thing, maybe not in your deck explicitly, but, you know, you're going to have this party of people that you're keeping alive, etc. So
one thing that I'm expecting is for there to be fewer Nazis in Edge of the Earth, which honestly is a disappointment because there's no better villain really for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because Batman takes place in like the 30s, right? The late 30s.
Well, the reason Tim said it in the late 30s is because if you want to have if you're setting it after when Mountains of Madness took place, you kind of have to, I think.
Yeah.
So this I'm expecting will also maybe take place around then, and they'll just kind of fudge it a little bit. But I think it might be like if there's Nazis in it, they can't sell it in Germany or something. There's like rules like that. So maybe that's it.
Fair.
Yeah. But yeah, I was definitely excited to compare them. And what else? So the other theories is they didn't really give us too many clues on like what the actual story beats will be, other than we're going to the Arctic. But or did they? I don't know. So. Ben was pretty bored when this announcement came out and spent a lot of time staring at all the cards.
This is a real. You've really got the like standing in front of the bulletin board, like pointing at all the stuff.
I haven't seen this before. I'm excited.
If I had more time to make the slideshow, I was definitely going to make a big conspiracy board.
We haven't seen Ben in this mode since maybe all the packs from Dream Eaters are named after albums that AJ likes or whatever. Like what wasn't it something like that? There was something.
That's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, there's a couple of cards with this like 6-figure hand going on, and I didn't do a great job of actually finding what this could reference, but there's a nebula that looks like a giant hand. I forget what it's called, but there's a famous Hubble photograph that is it looks like an outstretched hand. Like that's what the Harbinger really looks like, is that picture.
Oh yeah, sure,
you see, but there's 6 red dots implying there's 6 fingers. Like it looks kind of like it's one hand, but it could actually have 6 fingers.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's not exactly like that, but I think the nebula. I'll try to find it, but I think the nebula thing might also have 6 fingers. I'm not sure.
Yeah. But anyway, definitely some type of 6-fingered creature. They mentioned like some type of something swats you out of the sky, and I think in Mountains of Madness, it's like it's just referred to as like a dark god or something. Is like the big spooky thing there. So I assume that's going to be the big ancient one. Maybe I don't know if there's too much lore in it yet, at least not within the default Arkham files. I wanted to do more research on it, but I didn't totally have time. But I don't know if anybody else has theories about this 6-fingered monster. You know,
I know there are some theories abound. Some people are thinking that it's just Nyarlathotep because he said like kind of at the end of one of the I guess not the true ending, but he says it at the end. He's like, "I'll get you, investigators. I'll be back
next time."
Yeah,
I expect we'll see
that kind of a thing. So people were speculating maybe that was the case. But
I expect we'll see Nyarlathotep again. I was hoping we wouldn't see him this soon because there are like other directions you can go.
There's also the big frog god. Sagathagwagwa.
I don't know if that's an Arctic god. I mean, we might see Ithaqua or whatever. They might maybe merge it in with this. I don't know.
Sure,
There's
a lot of possibilities.
I think Ithaqua maybe is in the northern zone of the planet. I don't quite remember.
I think so too. He's more up in
the Arctic. I was thinking it might be
Alaska territory. There we
Gargamel
go.
from the Smurfs, but I don't know. That's unconfirmed. We don't really have any evidence for that either way.
I don't know.
Do
I'm
they
sure
have
we'll see.
fingers?
I'm sure we'll see some older things and some Shoggoths and stuff. But
Yeah, we'll definitely see both of those, and probably giant penguins. So
Yeah,
that's
hopefully
as long
there's-
as we get to see those, it's gonna be
Oh,
it's gonna be good.
There's definitely going to be giant penguins. It's got to be. So I'm excited for that. So, and I think that I think in the Mythosbusters, MJ mentioned that the prologue is like super long for this, which means Dan will have time to go get a taco while I read it.
Excellent. That's what we want to hear.
But maybe that's going to do some setup. I'm hoping there'll be like some fun like mystery to try to, as usual, like try to figure out what's going on exactly.
I mean, that's an issue. Normally, if the prologues are very long but not quite long enough for a taco break, I have to set Ben to like 1.5x speed and then just like read Twitter or something. But if it's long enough for a taco break, I can just leave it at 1.0x speed and go get a taco. So that's gonna be great.
So that kind of tips to me that maybe there's going to be some decisions to be made in the prologue, and that like it's talking a lot about like maybe your relationships with some allies. So you're going to have to make some decisions. Like, do you go with the dog herder or do you go with the plane mechanic? Obviously, the dog herder is the right choice.
Definitely the plane mechanic. It's not even close. Why would you want to hang out with a bunch of dogs to just like poop and bark when you could have a plane and a person that knows how to fix the plane? This is the easiest decision in the world. See, we're already debating it. It's fun.
Yeah.
I assume the prologue is going to try to set up each character to make you feel emotionally attached to each one, so that when they die later, you feel really bad about it. That's what I'm expecting.
It's going to be a campaign of epic proportions for sure.
Yeah. I think we might be scraping at the bottom of the barrel here for news now. One of these cards mentioned something called frost tokens. Any guesses on what these could possibly be?
It could be like sprinkles or something, but
sprinkles token
from this it's Snokins. That's adorable. Anyway, after you reveal one or more Snokin tokens, oh god, that's the best. That kind of a thing. So this is like bless and curse kind of all over again, except it's just one. We were kind of speculating at what these would do, and honestly, the only thing that I'm thinking is another Batmom parallel, which is that in Batmom there was this thing called frost damage, which was a different kind of damage. It basically was damages for all intents and purposes the same thing, but it did something extra. Like if you consider yourself frozen after you've did it, so it kind of sets the investigator's state to that, similar to poisoned. I think it would kind of be where then encounter cards affect you differently if you're frozen, and you can drink some warm soup. Maybe Thermos will finally have a good use, and you can drink some warm soup to get rid of the frozen thing.
Yeah, I mean, I assume they're going to be something to represent like the dangers and how cold it is. So like maybe you'll draw one, you'll take a damage. It could be something straight like that, or maybe each scenario will do something different.
Yeah, kind of like on the scenario card or something, right?
It could also be like
my guess is unlike bless and curse tokens, you won't remove it after you draw one. I don't know. We don't really know what it'll do yet. If they're going to do this for every campaign from now on, I'm just really excited to give the Orbits guy more money every time we do this. So that's great.
Same for Drax tokens.
I think he already said he's going to have them ready, hopefully in time for the campaign. So
sounds right.
All right, I have one last question for you guys, and this is I need the council's opinion on this. So, before this campaign was revealed, I mentioned that on a certain card, it said the edge of the earth on the internet, and lo and behold, the campaign was called the Edge of the Earth. But I didn't strongly campaign for it. It was kind of a lackluster confidence. Do I get any internet points? Yes or no?
Oh man.
So didn't people like immediately guess that it was the ends of the earth?
Yeah, because somebody leaked it, like the acronym was EOF,
and then immediately everyone guessed ends of the earth. I feel like you get some internet points for noticing this, but I feel like having already everyone assumed it was like ends of the earth, it's like that kind of takes some of the value off of it.
I searched. I couldn't find anyone else point out this card before I did, and I think MJ did say that this was the reference, but it was. I just commented in one random Discord chat.
But this didn't come out in Innsmouth though. This came out a while ago,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, there's
no,
100%
Strickland?
chance they were trying to think of a cool name, and like they're like, oh, look at this thing. We have this over here.
I will never understand exactly how FFG's like development cycle and sort of lead time thing works out, because I think in the Drawn of the Flame interview, she mentioned that they were working on this like during the pandemic, this campaign. So
Yeah.
that means they were working on it, like last year, like no more than like a year ago. But at the same time, like Crack the Case came out what, like 2 years ago, maybe more.
Yeah, I think Circle Undone was when it came out.
My guess is that they had the name and they had like maybe a rough idea for what it was going to be, but they didn't actually do the development on it until more recently.
I mean, the Crack the Case has a quote from
Reverse zoom.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah, sure.
Jonathan Gore. I thought I had Mount Zion's quote on it, but I guess not. So who knows? But
no,
anyway.
Arthur Conan Doyle.
All right, so I get half an internet point. All right, I'm sure that'll get me something.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any other comments on the Edge of the Earth news that you wanted to bring up?
I really love the kind of light blue cyan color of the boxes. Very, very nice color. Huge fan.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty excited just for the whole thing in general. Like almost everything about all of this news, I'm pretty stoked about. All of the like from how the investigator deck building is going to be to the new release model. Everything is just like I'm all for it. I'm all excited about it. Yeah. Somebody in the chat, Sultry in the chat, is saying Edge was supposed to come after TCU, but because it was so close to Forgotten Age, they didn't want to put it out immediately after. Some new information I didn't know.
I could see that. Yeah, that could make sense.
I mean, I'm pretty sure MJ has like 20 different campaign ideas like all lined up, and then has to decide which one to go for next. So I could see that making sense. Yeah. So last. Go ahead.
Still waiting for a campaign where you get to go inside a volcano. I don't think we've gotten to do that yet, right?
Oh yeah.
That'd be like a Hawaiian tropical type deal. A fire themed campaign yet or anything like that, or a hot place. I don't know.
I think like Hawaiian kind of Pacific campaign with volcanoes and Cthulhu in it. That's now that we've gotten the Mountains of Madness one. That's on the top of my wish list now. Yeah, that's what I want to see. Yeah.
Oh yeah, from cold to hot, freezing to boiling.
Yeah.
So the last thing we're going to talk about is a leak that we've seen a lot of rumors for, but has not yet officially been confirmed. So if you don't want to hear about that, you need to stick your fingers in your ears for a couple minutes, and then come back when Dane lists off all our socials that you can subscribe and like on. But so this is so there's rumors of the revised core set, and we saw like a leaked image. I think like the Spanish version or something. It's very possible this could be faked, but it seems pretty likely. I don't know. What do you guys think about? It looks like it's gonna be like an actual, basically 2 core sets together and come with like some new tokens.
Lead investigator token, baby. We got there.
I would put money on it because this is a very realistic looking package. It completely, back before this game came out, like in early 2016, there was literally a leaked image of the box in like Spanish just from some game store somewhere. So we knew there was going to be an Arkham Horror LCG before they even announced it. So this completely fits with the pattern so far. And as much as we love this game, I feel like the kind of community fans of it is not big enough for there to be some random person who is really good at Photoshop and enjoys just making shit up to confuse people. So I would put money on this being real.
You should take a trip down to the custom scenario campaign because those people who have made them are phenomenal.
Oh, they're very good at Photoshop
and have many ideas.
But for this to be fake, you need to have someone who's very good at Photoshop and is just like a troll that just wants to confuse people.
Sure.
Yeah. And I don't think it's like a Venn diagram. I doubt that we have people that are in both of those camps.
Yeah, 0 trolls in the Arkham Horror community.
I've been kind of like thinking for years that they should do a new core set, and the main thing would just be to swap out Night of the Zealot for like a newer campaign that is maybe more fun to play and like a better intro to it. And
like the Gathering Part 2 and 3, rather than Midnight Masks and Devour Below, just all the Gathering all the time. Do you mean
they
not quite
more
that.
like Midnight Masks Part 1, 2, and 3, because that's the actual good part of Night of the Zealot. But no, I mean they could do other stuff. Like they could. It looks like again, assuming this is real, it looks like there's at least some of the same player cards, but they've redone the art on some of the investigators.
Yeah.
I mean, they could do like an entirely new set of core set player cards if they wanted to give people a reason to buy it. They wouldn't necessarily have to. Like when Netrunner did a revised core set, it was no completely new cards. It was some cards from the original core set and some from the first couple cycles. So there's a lot of things they could do, but even if they're just going to give us a new kind of intro campaign, I think that's great. And it also looks like they're sort of getting rid of the thing where you have to buy 2 core sets to have a full set of cards. And I know people complain about that a lot.
That's incredibly good. Buying 2 core sets is always very hard to, when people are joining the game, to explain, like, yeah, if you want a deck build, you got it 2 core sets. But from the preview image here, it kind of looks like it's probably just going to be the same set of 2, like the quantity of like what's in 2 core sets, but with only 1, set of encounter cards, with some alt art for like the investigators, and maybe some of the cards have new art, because this looks like it's the Gathering in the picture here. But
I mean, if that's the case, I would be mildly disappointed by it, just because it seems like an opportunity to do more. But I mean, and also because I would probably still buy it to get the different art on the cards, even though it doesn't actually have anything new. So
yeah, that was.
It's like that time when they released the revised cores for Netrunner, like, and then the game died, and then the revised cores like skyrocketed to like $200, and nobody had them. And the really cool red level clear or green level clearance was like super cool art, and I never got one.
Well, the cool thing about that for me was that I had already bought 3 of them to get a full set of all the new arts. So it'll probably same thing will happen here.
Now, now I have to get 2 of these, of course. But
people complaining you had to buy 2 Arkham cores. Netrunner you had to buy 3. So I don't complain about it more. I don't care.
No.
I mean, obviously I'll still buy this. I'll have enough core set encounter cards for like the next 4 campaigns, because I think for my birthday last year people just bought me Arkham Horror core sets.
See, that's a big thing. That's another cool thing it would be neat if they revised, because they've sort of like stopped using a lot of the core set encounters, because I feel like they just got tired of them.
Yeah.
Frozen in Fear and stuff. I mean, I think partly it's like they needed to have a kind of a relatively generic set of cards that could fit in any campaign, so maybe they wouldn't change it. But it just seems like another opportunity. They could, with a little bit of effort, they could put new stuff in here that would make it exciting for existing players.
Yeah, there's also a good argument to be made where, because we're having this new release model, things like this can happen, right? Because we've got side scenarios that can come out, we've got parallel investigators that can come out, we've got like investigator starter type packs that could come out. This is kind of a natural thing to release at some point in the lapse of time between multiple campaigns coming out. So. This is definitely very welcome, and I think it's more realistic now than it ever has been with like a Mythos pack release schedule.
Here's the message. They're talking about the Night of the Zealot in chat, but they're talking about MJ regrets the Woods card in the Darvel you get stuck in forever, or it's also in the Circle Undone. And I think the reason for that is because they did a live stream at one point of the Circle Undone, and she was stuck in it for the entire like 3-hour stream.
Wow, that's not what you want. I do. I wonder if they would maybe do something like at least kind of bundle Return to Night of the Zealot in here with the with this, because that does make Night of the Zealot a lot better.
Yeah, they might. Yeah. It's possible they can combine them. We don't know how many cards are in here or anything, so it would be nice if it was all in one set. And it's also possible this will maybe be a storage solution for it. I think that was one thing we missed, is that supposedly the new campaign, the 2 new campaign 2 boxes will function as a storage solution out of the gate, which is kind of a
yay.
So we'll see.
Yeah,
for sure. If that holds up or not, but.
I think they took a lot of the positive reception from the Marvel Champions stuff, because that also serves as a box. They've got these like nice little inserts for you to pack your decks in and stuff like that. Yeah, and also their release model is very much of like, just get 1 box and you can play with 2 people comfortably, 4 people if you're stretching it. So that's, I think, is probably exactly what's going to happen here.
Yeah, so it'll be cool. Hopefully it'll be a good way to breathe more life into the game, and get more people into the game more easily. So and it'll be a good way for me to spend $50 to get a couple alt arts. So that's great.
Oh yeah, well, it's better than what we normally do, which is like go on eBay after Gen Con and spend stupid amounts of money for promos.
Yeah.
So
For like 2 cards.
yeah, I mean, at least we're like kind of indirectly funding FFG to keep making more of the game instead of just funding people to go to Gen Con and get cards they don't want and sell them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Always thinking of that silver lining, Dan. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's it. Who else is excited about both Edge of the Earth being, what is it, September, November-ish, maybe, possibly?
And the final two scenarios of Batmom, hopefully before then.
Yes. Yeah. If you
saw
haven't played it
rumors-
yet, get it in.
Yeah, I saw rumors for September for the investigators and like November for the campaign, but I don't, take that with a grain of salt. So
That kind of sounds right. I'd buy that.
Yeah, and I mean, who else wants to speculate more about what this set's going to bring? Let us know your thoughts. Come hang out with us on Discord. We've got a beautiful little Discord. Reach out to us on Facebook, Reddit, Instagram, or email us at comments@mur.fm. If you really love our show and want to get more involved, join us on patreon.com/Miskatonic University Radio to get access to exclusive Discord channels and other fun stuff. Or just leave us a nice review on your favorite podcasting network. Whatever works best for you. Thanks, everybody, for joining us here today. It's been fun to talk about things, speculate about the edge of the earth. Be safe, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye.
See you, everybody.
All right.
I'm going to loudly type with my loud keyboard now,
I'm
loudly.
gonna stop the stream. Don't want to